Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast 203. I hope this finds you and yours all doing well, safe, and sound as we keep moving through what's left of August. Tomorrow is September. Fall is around the corner. I love fall. Great light. Hey, thank you all for sitting there and tuning me in this week. I appreciate that. A bunch of you have been pushing some of the older podcasts, and I really appreciate you doing that and linking to them. They're all there on the website and iTunes. It really makes a difference, so thanks ever so much. And my good friends at Bedford Canberra, I thank you guys as well for sponsoring the Moose Podcast. You've done a lot for some photographers this last week. I know Nikon is just now starting to ship the Z70 to 200 2.8. Heard some folks who have got them coming from Bedford. I can't wait to hear what you think of the lens. I haven't got one yet, so I'm going to rely on you for that information. But Bedford did get me that 24 to 200 Z lens, lickety split, and boy, do I love that lens. So thank you, Bedford, for all you're doing. Remember, folks, go to bedfords.com, and when you check out, make sure you use that MOOSE discount. Save yourself some real money. And for most, no sales tax, and over $99, free shipping. So thank you, Bedford. Let's get right to this week's topic. Your questions answered? Well, I've got 4 questions here from the last 10 days. Want to sit there and see if I can't answer them in the time allotted, which is really going to be the challenge, I think. So I've got 2 from guys and 2 from gals. I'm going to start off with the gal. First question from Linda is, Linda, you had a lot of questions, so thanks for all that. I picked one. Her question was, has COVID-19 affected my photography? That's a really great question. It has and it hasn't. I wasn't really sure if you were referring to my style of photography or crimping my ability to go out and shoot just whatever I want when I want. So the first thing it really has done, it has totally shut down, are doing interviews with World War II and Korean vets. As you can imagine, they're all being in their, World War II vets in their late 90s. As you've heard, I'm sure, on the news, accessing some of these folks and talking with them is just not possible. Even family members can't get close physically. So taking in cameras and getting their interviews, and that, what bothers me is they're passing away. Time keeps marching on, and that's a bummer. So, yeah, that's the first thing that COVID-19's really hit us hard is, doing those interviews and talking with vets and sharing their stories with you. At the same time, yeah, it has postponed some things because travel just isn't simple. Not that I worry about flying in a plane. That's not really an issue. It's the fact that there's places that I'd like to go. An example is last week, I wanted to go to Pompey's Pillar. You've probably never heard of Pompey's Pillar. That's okay. I was hoping to bring that story in my photographs, and we go to do it, and the boardwalk and the ramp up to it is closed because there's no way of people going up and down the ramp and the stairs and socially distancing. So there was something we thought we were going to go do, and oops, can't do that. And then, yeah, there's some other places that, we're really close to Yellowstone, and we'd love to go out and be in Yellowstone and go explore that. But I don't know if you've heard, but it's gone nuts over there. The visitation is up something like 12 or 14% over last year. And this year there's COVID. There's more people and more issues. And I don't know if you heard, but I believe the name is Giant Geyser. It just erupted again yesterday or 2 days ago. This is a big geyser that hasn't gone off for a number of years. I think it's 6 years. So there's those events that I would love to see and do. And then lastly, yeah, it's really cut down in our aviation work. We're not getting able to do as much air to air for a number of reasons. Most of the time, most of them is simple, social distancing and wearing a mask, all those things you need to do. Just kind of takes the fun out of it. With all that said, I'm still shooting as much as I would. But now I'm doing most of it in my own backyard with the water feature I've built and the perches and stuff. So I'm working mostly with my own critters in my backyard, or I've actually photographed Bambi for the first time in my career, and it's been fun to get to know these baby whitetail and watch how they've been growing up and how they are. For lack of better terms, getting accustomed to the sound of the camera and me moving around and dealing with all that they do. So I've been shooting as much, I'm just not shooting the things I would like to, and some of the things I feel pressured by time I need to. But I think that's a great question. I think it's, Linda, I think that COVID's affected everybody's photography. And I hope it's not put a downer or a depressing side on your photography, just making it more of a challenge to go out and do stuff. We just filmed a class for Kelby 1 this past week that kind of talks about this very topic and how you can deal, I think you could deal with it and how we deal with it. And hopefully that'll be out here the next month, and that will help you as well, Linda, with an answer for yourself. All right, so Jerry, Jerry, you couldn't be more succinct. He said, point blank, he goes, "Do you shoot with that 800 millimeter tank of yours anymore? All I see in your caption's a 180 to 400. Jerry." Well, Jerry, yes, I still shoot the 800. But yes, I shoot the 180 to 400 a lot. For those who don't remember the whole story, I had the 200 400 since day one. And when the 180 to 400 was announced, I said, yeah, I don't see a reason to get it, because I went through all my metadata and saw how little I was using the 200 or 400, especially for the last probably 18 months prior to the 180 to 400 hitting the office. So I couldn't see, since the 200 or 400 was already paid for, spending the money to buy the 180 400. And then I got the 180-400, and I saw how incredibly sharp it is, how beautifully balanced it is on the D5 and now the D6. But that biggie is that built-in 1.4 teleconverter that, you're working with critters, and here working at the ranch photographing birds at the water feature, being able just to pop that 1.4 into place and out again, and the critters can't see you moving. That's a huge benefit. So I still use the 180-400 and the 800 shooting. Now, when do I use the 800? I use it a lot here at the ranch for a lot of things, especially for the birds. Now, I think my neighbors think I'm pretty much a wackadoo. I know my wife thinks I'm a wackadoo, and she has reason to, but we've got this forest of ponderosa and lodgepole pine all around us. And what do? I go out and I'm planting dead trees. Yeah, you heard me right. I'm planting dead trees. I've got what we call the woodpecker pole, and then we have the pileated pole. And these are 10 to 12 foot dead pieces of trunk that I've taken off our ranch, and I've pulled them down and I've buried them in the ground. Why? Well, I want to photograph woodpeckers. Now, the woodpecker pole, I've set it up so I could sit just inside the door, one of the doors of the garage, and with the 800 millimeter, photograph downy and hairy woodpeckers that are coming to the woodpecker pole. The pileated pole got buried in the ground at the same idea that where I would want to be with the 800 millimeter to photograph the pileated, which so far we've only seen flying over. We've not seen it stop. Again, it's set up for the 800 millimeter lens. So yeah, Jerry, I still shoot the 800. It's still my primary bird lens. I just of late haven't been putting out photographs taken with it. But yeah, that's my baby. It's still here, and that's a great question. All right. Doris has, it was a long, long email. And I think I boiled all our questioning down to this basic: when and where is the best place to photograph elk? I only have a 70 to 200 lens. Well, that's actually a perfect lens for photographing elk. So I think you're going to be just fine with that. I've shot a lot of elk back in the day in Yellowstone with the 7200. And I say back in the day because once the wolves came back into the park, the elk were put back in check, and the huge numbers, overrunning numbers of elk that were so prevalent in the park aren't there anymore. And just a little side note, it's still, this piece of biology trivia just amazes me. What's the one critter that's most benefited from the introduction of wolves into Yellowstone National Park? The trout. Yeah, the trout. That's because the wolves have so called all the elk herds that the riparian zone along the creeks and the rivers are just coming back. And with that riparian zone, not only little birds and stuff coming back, but so are the insects. And with that, the water's getting clean, the insects are there, and the trout are rebounding because the creeks and the rivers haven't been totally mowed down by the elk. It's amazing how Mother Nature works. But I'm sorry, got off the question there, Doris. Let me get back to it. So if I was you and I wanted to shoot elk, and I want to shoot elk bugling, doing all that cool fall stuff, and you want to go where it's really kind of a cool temperature, so when they bugle, you can see the steam coming out of their mouth as they bugle. The best place is Rocky National Park in Colorado. I mean, they're all over Estes Park. They're in the golf courses, people's yards. They're all over Rocky National Park. Really simple to see. Really, some dramatic photographs can be taken there. And your 7200 lens, you could sit in the safety of your car, which I really recommend. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot of people are getting nailed by critters this summer. The Darwin Award is like overflowing with candidates. So shooting the elk during the rut with a 7200, Rocky Mountain National Park is the place I would recommend to you, Doris. The last question I'm going to do is from Phil. Great question. My birds have all disappeared. Why? Well, it is the end of August, and it is kind of a transition zone, or time, I should say. Back when we lived in the Eastern Sierra, August was the one time when we have almost no birds in our feeder. There was a 6-7 week period of time where we would barely even fill the feeders. The only thing that would come is some of the resident woodpeckers. Here at the ranch, totally different scenario. We've got another wave of birds in at the ranch, but typically in August, bird activity in our feeders tends to slow down. You've got most of the nesting over with. You've got all that panic eating to feed the kids done with. Those migrants, a lot of them are already starting to move towards migrating south. The resident birds kind of like resettling in with the impact of all the migrant birds, getting back to their routines. So it's kind of a normal thing. With that said, there are less birds overall than there were 10 years or 20 years ago. But this time of year, Phil, birds tend to not be as plentiful in our feeders. But just you wait. First cold snap, and your food bill will go back up. Well, I appreciate you guys sending in great questions. I know I didn't get to all of them. I try to answer them as much as I can by email, if not here on the podcast. Thank you guys so much. Oh yeah, one last thing. Yeah, the website, it still has a life of its own, so my apologies for some of the goofies. We are trying to get it dealt with, slowly but surely, folks. So thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for the great questions and support. And remember to make every click your story.